This is for Sally. She said that she forgot to put the things that people may not know about her. So I didn't know if you were supposed to get that, Curtis.
Okay, can you tell me what this
She's right behind you.
work for three presidents?
I work for three presidents.
Okay. Dwight Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, and Lyndon Johnson. I sure can.
I was on.
Very cool. Very cool.
Curtis, I don't have a direct line
And
for chat.
you are right here, Sally.
Oh my God.
Front and center. And food is in the other room.
Mike is the man.
I'm gonna go grab that.
He's on his way, Jonathan. He's here. Perfect. He's on his way.
Okay,
He's actually right there.
there he is. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
She screwed up a couple of big times.
Yeah, I meant to tell you, no cheesecake. It's a brownie. It's a brownie churro.
That's always okay. Yeah, she has a different perspective than Jim.
Yeah, if I get the other one.
So awful when you have a job.
No, I get it.
Mr. Mayor, all right, sir. Good to see you down.
How are you, Sally? How you doing? I'm Jennifer. I used to work with Ellie at the town connection. That's amazing. It's all got to go at some time, right?
So why?
Yeah, remember? No, but next week, Tuesday. When's your birthday?
August 9th.
August 9th. Are you going to eat, Sally? Do you need me to go get you anything?
I don't.
Okay.
What is this? Oh, that's will be called.
1 minute. That makes sense.
Chad, and if you want me to have you move.
Today my eyes are not working. I want to make notes, but I can't see them.
Do your glasses help?
And it's a
For close up or
walk
for
music
distance?
for after he's done, right?
That's what
At all? Is close up or for distance?
Wait, maybe you
I make notes. I cannot see them, but it makes
Get your raffle tickets over here at the table. Phil's ready to pull out some money right now as we speak. You got about 5-10 minutes. Come on over.
Yeah, and then might get up and take his hand.
Right down there. With the police hats. Mr. Christoph.
Yeah. New members coming up here. And the blue badge. And then Jeannie is coming up.
So you've been very busy.
I'll talk to Jeannie. Let me ring the bell.
Welcome, everybody. We got about 10 or 12 minutes before we get started. If you haven't gone through the buffet yet, now is your chance. Enjoy the fellowship. And it's great to see you, Jim Lubinsky.
that I've been a past district governor, right?
I did know that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
That's my proudest thing.
Even beyond working for the presidents?
Well, that's so long ago
'Cause-
that you can't really remember that good.
Well,
I mean, no. Yeah, that was
how are
always-
you? Doing well? I'm living the dream. Living the dream. I'm ready to go. Ready, I'll be ready.
Do you want me to go get you some? No, for you? The raffle tickets. For you? How many would you like? I think it's 3 for $5. Yeah, I think we'll have change. Oh, there's a $5. All right. Here you go, Sally. And it's 2 for $5. And I got a bonus.
Get in there, Peter. I know I'm not supposed to be here. Good seeing you. Love what you're doing. I'm even taking one for the team today. You'll see. Oh, okay.
I'm not allowed to have a checkbook, so I haven't written a check in a decade.
Can I just spend money? Oh, and don't let me forget to take Wilbur today. Because I won't be at the next meeting.
I think Dorina has hopefully one or two, or Deborah does,
Okay.
somewhere.
And if not, I'm not leaving till Wednesday, but if I can get him today, if not, I'll leave and catch up with her.
Okay.
Oh, there's one up on the bookcase. So yes, we're good.
Go grab it.
Perfect. It's going to be a good day.
Welcome to the August 21st meeting of the Rotary Club of Tucson. All rise. There we go. Every week. We'll get there. Now it's time for the pledge and song. I want to welcome up Libby Lintz, joined our club March 28th, 2024. Education is medical, Pima Medical Institute, University of Arizona, and University of Phoenix. It's all yours, Libby.
Hello, everyone. It's so good to be here again. It's been a while for me. So.
I pledge.
Oops, so sorry. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Nice job, Chris. That was standing. Don't you normally sit? Well done. And now for our inspiration, you may all be seated. Want to welcome up Jason Flax, who joined our club May 26, 2022. I know we're all excited to be back in this room today and that we have actual college football games this Saturday. I don't think the Red Raiders are playing, but still. Let's listen to Jason Flax here for a second. There we go. Well done. So proud of you guys. Insurance and risk management, employee benefits, love and touche, and he went to the University of Arizona. Jason.
Okay, so I've been taking time doing a lot of reading and noticed that if you take a bamboo seed and you water it every day, for the first year, nothing happens. The second, third, and fourth years pass, and still there's no sign of growth. Finally, in the fifth year, the bamboo tree sprouts, and it grows to 90 feet in 6 weeks. So here's the real question. Did the bamboo tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks or in 5 years? Well, the answer is that it really took 5 years, right, of nurturing and patience for the tree to grow. But what if someone only saw the last 6 weeks? They wouldn't have any idea of the hard work it took to get there. So our world moves really, really fast now, and we forget that success doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, persistence, and consistent effort. And so we need to make sure that we water the next generation so they just don't see the last 6 weeks.
Well done. Thank you, Jason. And now it is time for the introduction of our guests and visiting Rotarians. Welcome up Chris Dodge, joined our club February 13th, 2020. Entertainment, Chris Dodge Entertainment, and went to the University of Arizona. It's all you, Chris.
Oh, there's so many police in here, so don't worry, the thunder has nothing to do with my standing in the community. We have lots of guests here, and we're so happy that you're here, so as you are able, stand up when I call your name so we can say hello to you, and we're going to say hello to everybody that's our guest. So, guests of Sandra Johnson, say hello to Ryan Shirley. Hey, Ryan. Guest of Mark Irvin, say hello to Peter Anadronastakis. Hey, Peter. Yeah, there you go. You got to stand up. Listen to instructions, sir. Jeez. We want you in this club. All right. I like you. I like everybody. Ralph Phillips, a guest of Ralph Phillips. Say hello to Susan Bacall. Hi, Susan. Guest of Brittany Battle. Say hello to Pat Yongo. Hi, Pat. Also guest of Brittany. Say hello to Bree Seward. Hi, Bree. And guest of Monty Clausen, say hello to Joni Clausen. Where are you, Joni? And guest of Monty Clausen, say hello to Carrie Foote. Hi, Carrie. Guest of Mitch Pizik, say hello to Mike Ablin. Hi, Mike. Guest of Mitch Pizik, say hello to Robert Ablin. Hey, Robert. But wait, there's more. All right, guest of Bruce Tons, say hello to Kathleen Erickson. Hi, Kathleen. And guest of Dot Kret, WTPT, Deputy Chief, say hello to Monica Prieto. And our exchange student and guest of Jeannie Zita, say hello to Caro Amano. Hi, Caro. And guest of Sandy McCaslin, say hello to Gretchen Rader. Hi, Gretchen. Another guest of Sandy, say hello to Grace Wilkie. Hi, Grace. I got two more. Guest of Dan Calm, say hello to Carrie Mack. There she is over there. Hey, Carrie. And then last one, guest of Tim Putney, say hello to Cole Morelli. Hey, Cole. And that's all I got, President Curtis. Back to you.
Well done. The mic is not cooperating today. I'm sure it's not user error. Ralph Phillips, it's so good to see you. It's been way too long, way too long. And Steve Pickering, I'm so glad they let you back in the state. I was worried whether they were going to let you do that, but it's good to have you back in town. This is going to be fun. First, I want to thank Mike Levine. Mike Levine, our sponsor today, Port of Tucson. Appreciate you being in this club, being our sponsor, and being a friend. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mike. And next, is this my first meeting, or your first meeting when I'm the president of the club, Jonathan?
Try to stay away with you.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I figured. He is pretty smart. Jonathan Rothschild joined our club December 3rd, 2020. He was an honorary member before that, back in 2014. Attorney, trusts and estates, Mesh, Clark, and Rothschild. Went to Kenyon College and UNM. Lobo. Oh, there you go. Nice. Very good. The Lobos. Welcome up. Get to introduce Chad. You knew that, right? Okay.
It is. Curtis is so tall. So when you're at the city of Tucson, there's about 5,000 employees. And there's a lot of good employees. And then there's some exceptional people. And one of the jobs of your electeds and department heads, whatever they might be, is to identify those talented people so that things go well in the future. And one of the ways that electeds get to see the talented young people is a chief or a department head will allow the employee to speak to the city council about an issue. I think that's probably the first time where I met Chad Kazmar and could easily identify quickly, well, there's a talented young man. As it turned out, he'd been with the department 20 years, had worked in every division, doing everything, has a bachelor's degree from the University of Arizona in fine arts, for all of those who think policemen aren't artists. has been at leadership programs at Harvard, the Police Executive Research Council, the Eller School, is a certified hostage negotiator, certified mortar officer, and instructor. And in those 21 years, he was identified and moved up the ranks. Probably one of the ways that you really knew that he was somebody who the chiefs had identified for future leadership is when we went to interview, for the final interview, Chief Kazmar's successor, Chief Magnus. Chief Villasenor, who was the predecessor, took the city manager, Mike Ortega, myself, and Assistant Chief Kazmar to make that final decision. And so we spent some time together, and there was no question he's in the leadership role. When Chief Magnus went to Washington, I think there was some concern that the council would appoint a good new chief, because that's ultimately the council's decision. And they made the right decision when they chose Chief Chad Kazmar. And so I'm going to give you the chief. He'll tell you about what's going on in the city, the challenges. It's not an easy job being chief of a police department with about 600,000 citizens in it, and how you balance the electeds' wishes and thoughts against some of the realities that are out there. So I give you Chief Chad Kazmar. Big welcome.
Good afternoon. So maybe I'll be the speaker where the lights go out on with this thunderstorm. There's a beautiful storm out there. I'm going to spend 10 to 15 minutes just laying some framework for what we're facing, what things look like. You probably, like most folks, are getting your real-time information from social media or mainstream media, or you're seeing it yourself driving around town. So I'm going to frame a little bit about that. Just a quick question for you. How many folks in here are from natives of Tucson? Show of hands. All right, about a third in the room. How many folks have been in Tucson for over 10 years? Most of us. Okay. Well, again, thank you for having me. My name is Chad Kazmar. I'm your chief of police. I'm here with, as you heard, Monica Prieto, who's my deputy chief. What that means in cop talk and plain talk is that she's a second in command, and when I'm not around, she's the boss. That's what that means. Like Friday when I leave town to take a vacation that I haven't taken in 4 years. So I couldn't do what I do without Monica, so I do want to celebrate her as she's an amazing partner and helps me keep my sanity at work. Tucson, 33rd largest city in the country. Think about that for a minute, right? So sometimes when we drive into work and we look across the valley where there's 1 degree of separation, it is good to see a lot of familiar faces in this room. We think of Tucson as the old Pueblo, the Sleepy Hollow Tucson. The reality is we're a major city, we're a border city, and we have major city issues. We're not Oro Valley, we're not Marana, we're not Sahuarita, we're not U of A, we're not Pima College. We are the city of Tucson, and that comes with some major responsibilities, opportunities, and challenges. I am lucky. There's 18,000 police departments in this country. There are 70 police departments that have the designation of a major city police department, which means you have to have the certain size community and certain size population within your police force, and we're one of those. The opportunity that presents of one of 70 major city out of those 18,000 is there's a responsibility to connect, to lead, to understand, and evaluate, in a post-Ferguson, post-George Floyd world, where the profession of policing is going. And so I have the honor, much like you heard, of not only in the opening remarks, of not only figuring this job out myself as I was new, and I was the second in command for 6 years before I went to the Emergency Communications Department and led that effort for a year before coming home to TPD. But the reality is we face major challenges with the staffing that we have, with the budget that we have, and you'll never hear from me or any of my executive leadership team that we can't do something because we have less of, which is true. At once upon a time in the history of my department, we had 1,100 commissioned police officers. And today we sit with about 750 deployable police officers. In a time where crime is more complex, it's more complicated, it's more dangerous, and we're going to talk about a synthetic drug called fentanyl here in a moment. So what do we do with all those challenges and opportunities? Well, for one, we figured out as major city police department and chiefs, you don't have to figure this out on your own. Our predecessors didn't have it all figured out. So The power of collaboration and partnership is something you'll hear throughout my talking points with you today. I do not have all the answers. What I'm paid to actually do is to bring together the right people and the right workforce that can come up with the best solutions for the problems that we face. And we do face some significant challenges here in Tucson. One of them, which is the most prolific, we'll start there because it's what you see every day and it's what you're most impacted by. Give us a guess. What's the biggest thing on everybody's mind when you drove into homelessness, which is driven by what? Drug use, mental health, substance misuse disorders, mental health disorders. Fentanyl, folks, is a game changer. And it's complicated of why this has taken our country, not just our state, not just our community, but our country by storm. And for one, it's really the first synthetic drug that the cartels have figured out to manufacture at scale. So you no longer have to grow a field and plant a bamboo crop, right? You order the chemicals in and they come in and you manufacture it and you distribute. How much of fentanyl that comes into our country do you think is seized in the state of Arizona? 50%. 50% of the fentanyl, let me say that again, 50% of the fentanyl in this country is seized in our state due to the proximity of our border, the terrain of the border, the security of the border, the lack of security of the border. That's not a political statement. Those are the facts. I've toured the border. I'm close friends with Sheriff Mark Daniels. These are some of the realities when we think about what are the challenges that are facing it, what are the opportunities. Border security is a bipartisan issue. So I'm also not only the chief of police, I'm on about 6 different boards. One of those is a Law Enforcement United Immigration Task Force, which actually works towards, in a holistic way, of border security with realistic immigration reform, so people can come in and out of our country. We need that for a thriving economy. But the challenge is that fentanyl in the city of Tucson, in the state of Arizona, is far more affordable than anywhere else in the country, right? Does that make sense? It comes across the border. It only takes an hour to get here. Because of our proximity, it's affordable. And that's what's driving a lot of the challenges that you see, whether it's the unsheltered population, it's plight in front of your business, it's criminal damage. It's responsible for the reason that you can't go get your vitamins from Target or a tool from Home Depot or wire without waiting for somebody to check that, to open up a screen, a cage, and give you that item and then walk out. So we have to really start thinking about some of these challenges as it's not just the human issue that we see in front of us, but it's also the economic impact for our entire region. Because we live in a world, if it's not easy to consume a service, what are you going to do? You're just going to order that service online. So as chief, you might not expect me to be thinking about the budget, but I run about a $195 million budget. Any guess on what percentage, for those of you that own businesses in this room, of that budget is personnel? Funds my personnel. 95% of my budget is personnel costs. So that leaves 5% of my budget left over out of roughly $200 million without grants, about $220 million with grants, where I don't have a general fund budget for fleet, for cars, unmarked cars, body-worn cameras, tasers, body armor. Just like your home or your business, I have roofs to coat, I have built lights to replace, I have carpet. We are hard on equipment. I have 1,200 employees that are sometimes like 1,200 teenagers, and we're hard on stuff. And that stuff has to be replaced. Guns last about 5 years. Body armor in this climate lasts about 3 years. So there's consumables. And so that's why we're such a big machine, and we're about a quarter of the city workforce. So when you see me talking about the budget at different points of the year, and we talk about sales tax initiatives, and that's why it's important, because when we don't have the right funding, bad things happen. I'll just be candid. We lost an officer's leg last year, almost his life, Kyle Lorenz, a young man who wanted nothing more than to be a police officer, and about 6 months into the job was hit by a drunk driver while protecting another scene. That also happened last night, by the way, again with fortunately no injury to one of our officers. And then of course we lost Adam Buckner in March to what was a preventable collision, and ultimately he should have been wearing his seatbelt, but his life could have been saved if he had been in a car that wasn't manufactured in 2012. So what else do we have going on? Fentanyl is a huge problem. We also have a gun problem, and I want you to hear that directly from me. We have a gun problem in Tucson. We've had around 100 shootings this year, 100. For the last week and a half, we've had almost one a night. And it's something that keeps me up at night. And I'm sure most of you created awareness, which is actually a good thing, to the hookah lounge shooting that happened 2 weeks ago at Speedway in Swan, where over 180 shots were fired at that scene with semi-automatic and fully automatic weapons. 180. Think about that for a minute. 180 rounds fired. Whoop. So that's scary when one of these magazines right here holds 17 rounds. So my staff are not equipped for a fully automatic gunfight with a drum that holds 100 rounds of weapons. Those are some of the issues that we're facing. Traffic fatalities. What do you think's driving those? Cell phones, speeding, population growth, all those things contribute. But fentanyl is also a driver of that. And what we're seeing is most of the pedestrian fatalities that we're seeing, almost without exception, are folks are using poly drugs, mainly fentanyl, but also methamphetamine. So the pedestrian fatalities are also a problem and one of the things that are under our strategic initiatives. So we've covered fentanyl. We've covered gun crime. Thankfully, a lot of people that get involved in shootings in our town are horrible shots. And so those 100 shootings are not resulting in 100 homicides, but they could, right? If the circumstances were different. The fact that we didn't have someone killed with a 180 round shot the other night was really, we got lucky. And luck is not a tactic, and I'm going to talk about tactics here in a moment. The other really scary thing for me as a chief of police is that area was on our radar. We were deployed in that area. We were just on a traffic stop a block away. And so officers, and here's what's really terrifying about this, to really frame some of the folks that we're dealing with. The individuals just saw police officers drive through that area. In fact, they could really see the lights if they paid attention that were a block away. And they still chose to engage in a gun battle that exchanged 180 rounds of gunfire between about 10 different guns. And we're going to talk about how we know there's 10 different guns here in a moment. So I've laid a little foundation of the challenges: staffing, drugs, budget, violent crime. So what do we do with all these things? Well, you can't do the job the way you've always done it. And again, if you own a business in here, we're not special, and you have to adapt. And you adapt and you build relationships. And so I want to start with, a safe Tucson is a metropolitan issue. It's not just Pima County. It's not just the city of Tucson. It's not just Sahuarita, Oro Valley. We all depend on each other, Marana, U of A, Pima College. We all have to work together collaboratively to have, in effect, change. There's systems accountability that has to occur, but before you can have accountability, you have to have an evaluation. And before you have an evaluation, you have to have good data. And we're all doing more with less at this point, and the police department is as well. We're extremely lucky that we have about 7 PhD holding folks that work for us in an analysis division, and they are far smarter than a guy with a fine art degree. And what they do is they process the information and the numbers, and they tell me where I should deploy my resources. So we're able to better understand where are the heat maps, what is happening with the arrest. 6 months ago, I couldn't tell you what happened with the over 6,000 narcotics arrests that officers made last year. Think about that for a minute. 6,000 arrests just last year. We're over 3,000 this year. That means officers are doing 40%, 47% more work than we were 5 years ago, with about 30% more police officers. That's how hard they're out there working for you. Over 100,000 activities in the last 6 months, either call response, proactive work, officers out there. 750 deployable folks are doing that amount of work for you, and there's about 396 of that 750 that actually wear a uniform like this and work out in the street. It's a tremendous amount of work, so we have to be smarter with the resources that we have, and that comes through strategies. So we are an agency that's committed to evidence-based strategies. If you haven't heard me talk before in a forum like this or on the news, we are a public safety partnership site city selected by the Department of Justice. Has everybody been paying attention to what's happening with Phoenix, the city of Phoenix, and the city of Phoenix Police Department with the Department of Justice? Okay, we should pay attention to that, because there's a $100 million price tag that comes with what's happening up there. And what happens is when you have a police department that doesn't pay attention to the way that you deploy force, that's not transparent in the way that you track that, in the way that you contact the unsheltered population and you enforce the laws that you have on the books, you can find yourself under the focus of the federal government and the Department of Justice. What a consent decree is, when they come in and they decide and they tell the mayor and council how they will fund and run their police department, and that's about a decade-long process that costs you about $100 million. My job is to make sure that I'm educating the community and the elected officials to make sure that we're investing in the right spaces where the chief and the mayor and manager and council get to decide, and community, what exactly we want our police force to look like in the work that it does. So there's two parts of the Department of Justice: the principal's office that comes in and takes your department over, and the other side that invests in you when you have a certain level of violence in your community and you're committed to evidence-based strategies. They will come in and give you technical grant assistance, which is what we have. So through that, we've evolved the Community Safety Awareness and Response Center. It's something that we used to call a real-time crime center. That's the evolution of how do we use cameras? How do we use technology? How do we use data? And not just from the city of Tucson, but from the county and all of our surrounding communities, where we can feed all that information into a center and we can digest that and then deploy officers into areas that need police intervention. We also have programs like community violence interruption. We have twice the poverty rate of the rest of the country. Poverty is a driver of crime. So let me say that again. Nearly twice the poverty rate of the rest of the country, and poverty is factually proven to be a driver of crime. Right? When people don't have opportunity, or they feel like they're living in a neighborhood that has a high level of violence and they can't move, that can draw kids into behaviors that ultimately get them into trouble, or they make bad decisions. Your risk of everybody in this room, if you're home by midnight, you're not selling drugs, you're not part of a gang, or you don't get involved in a road rage incident, you have better odds of being eaten by a mountain lion in Tucson than being a victim of violent crime. Right? The media is not going to portray that. That's the reality of it, is we have young adults who are out there from 2 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the morning that are doing street racing, they're selling drugs, they're involved in criminal activities. They don't have a wraparound service, which is called Your Family. That's the original wraparound service. That's there to keep them on track to do the right thing. And those are the issues that we're having. So we've responded not only through our commitment of deployment strategies and leaning on federal partnerships and local partnerships, but also restructuring our department. So last month in July, when we had shift change, we dropped one of our patrol squads and we added a second community response team. That is a plainclothes unit that is a tactical arm. So last Saturday in that hookah lounge area where we had that problem, I had 40 deployable officers who were out there to do high levels of enforcement and to further investigative leads on that crime that we're solving. I want to close with, when we really focus, and I can't get too far into the weeds on it, but National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, called NIBIN. Every gun that fires a round out of a bullet leaves a shell casing, and that shell casing leaves a unique fingerprint on it. And through NIBIN and our partnerships with the ATF, we are starting to track guns like networks and like people. It's unbiased. It's just the data tells you where that gun's been, where it's been used, and that's how we're really having success in tracking it. So that's a federal partnership that we're doing here in town. We're actually been doing such a good job of that we're selected. Phoenix is the only other Arizona State Police Department to do something called CGIC, which is a crime gun intelligence center. And so what that means is we're now not only processing our own shell casings from our own crimes, but everybody south of Phoenix, pretty much to the border, are feeding their shell casings through us. So we know where are these guns going, because if you've also been paying attention to the news with straw purchasing, guns are only used in Tucson for a certain amount of time and then they're moved south to Mexico towards the cartels. So it's a really complex problem, but let me put a bow on top, as I've laid some pretty heavy stuff on you. I wouldn't still be the chief if I wasn't optimistic and I didn't believe that this city, as a metropolitan group, not just the city of Tucson, but our body of government, had the right chemistry and the right resources and had the community support for me to be successful as chief. The pay's good, but it's not that good, okay? And it's a 24/7 job. What might be different from my job versus your jobs is our machine never turns off. It's 24/7, 7 days a week. We don't take COVID breaks. We don't take holidays, just like last night when we all went back out because we had an officer-involved shooting. So the work never stops. But the dedication of the current workforce that we have is so tremendous. They love this town. They take immense pride in serving all of you as Tucsonans, and some native and some not. Adam was not a native. Adam chose to be part of our community and moved here from New Orleans. We've got a cool vibe here in Tucson, and people want to be part of that. there are solutions. You'll never hear me finger pointing. The systems are not perfect. The partnerships are not perfect, but the chemistry is right where we can continue to have impact if we're willing to have the courage to unpeel the onion and talk about the complexities of the issues that we face, and we collaboratively work together. But the finger pointing and the haymakers just don't work. I've been married 24 years, just celebrated that anniversary last week. And I can tell you one thing, my home life never got better, not once, when I picked a fight at a barbecue in a public space, and did it get better when I went home? And the same holds true with the elected officials and the county attorney, my federal partners. There's a lot of sausage making that goes on behind the scenes so we can have systems improvement. I'm very confident with also our launch of a program called ComStat. We won't call it that, but it's the use of data so my new patrol folks can really understand where the crime trends are and how to deploy the resources. That'll be launching next month as well. So I hope to come back here next year and tell you, yes, in 2021 we peaked at 83 homicides. And we've had less than 40 of those this year. I still think we can cut that number in half. So there's no destination here. It's a journey. We're going to continue to try to make Tucson the best place we can for all of you to live, work, and play. And I'm just honored to be your chief. So thank you. With that, I'll answer some questions.
Hi, thank you very much. With fentanyl being a manufactured drug, why the heck is it manufactured in Mexico and not in the United States?
Because, again, unpolitical statement, the precursor drugs are coming from China and they're going to Mexico and it's manufactured there to our proximity to the border. Because if it was manufactured here, we'd stop it. So, I mean, at some point, the United States has to figure out and to call the cartels what they are, which are terrorist organizations. They are pumping cancer. And you can get in the debate of supply and demand, right? We have a mental health and substance misuse problem in this country, and we have to figure that out. But there's been no drug. I've spent 5 years of my job, as in my younger days, actually doing real police work in an undercover capacity. There's been no drug like this that has just taken over. I could drop my uniform shirt and take any one of you to go buy drugs at 10 different locations right now. And 5 years ago, you would have to meet somebody who would be an interim, and we called it a trapper, who would take you to go buy drugs. But it's just it's saturated our community to the point where a fentanyl pill now is less than $1 here in Tucson, and it's $20 on the East Coast. So, again, what I would ask you is, you're not helping the unsheltered person by giving them money at the intersection. Donate to local nonprofits, to the shelters, to rehab facilities that can actually help folks get better.
Bruce over there.
Chad, thanks for being here and thanks for the job you're doing. Can you comment on, I understand that you put together a group or a team that really is more dealing with social behavior issues as opposed to, the other police officers going out and trying to deal with that type of a situation?
We have a community outreach team we call CORE that's a couple different integrated resources, as well as folks with lived experiences that go out either and help other city resources like community safety, health, and wellness, or our homeless protocol resources. So what we're trying to do is not just play whack-a-mole and check someone into jail and they're out 6 hours later, or maybe immediately they just released through pretrial, but really unpacking why is somebody living out on the streets. Why is somebody, engaged in making bad decisions? And a lot of that, there's a foundation of mental health disorders. And so we have folks with specialized training, well beyond the crisis intervention training that we have. They do the mandatory court mental health treatment programs, and again, they also follow up with folks who have had an overdose, and they'll go back within 24 hours, and they try to make contact with them to get them into services. This isn't just, I'll tell you right now, if you have grandkids, children, any age, you got to have this talk with them. Fentanyl is at high school parties. It's manufactured to be attractive to kids. It looks like Skittles. They make it in different colors, and one pill can kill. 6 out of 10 fentanyl pills has a lethal amount of fentanyl that can kill a user. The only reason that we have, we've seen a decrease is just the widespread deployment of Narcan in this community that's saving lives.
Question over there.
Chief, as with any employer, we have to look at attracting talent, and qualified individuals in our workforce can be very challenging. About a year ago, I saw a billboard for Albuquerque Police Department advertising recruiting police officers for their city here in downtown Tucson. Can you speak to your recruitment efforts and the challenges around that?
Yeah, I'm friends with Albuquerque Chief Harold Medina. We had words about that one. I said, hey, go find your own. I love the bamboo and strategy and analogy. I call it our grow our own philosophy. We last year, for the first time in 5 years, it doesn't sound like a lot, but started this year with 5 more police officers than we did the year before. So in 2021, we were losing 11 officers a month through the whole year. We've cut that attrition in half. So we're less than 5 now. And in my first 2 years, we had it at 3. There were some raises involved, new chief excitement. The new car smells weird off now. They have to make the payment for me. So, but what I'm working with city leadership on is, one, you have to have good foundational pay. We have to be competitive. We're doing okay. We're not as good as we should be. We shouldn't be paying what Phoenix is paying. We don't have there's a lot of reasons behind that, but we should be competitive. And frankly, the work in Oro Valley, Marana, and some of these smaller departments is just less dangerous and less complex. And the pay for being a Tucson Police Department police officer should reflect the dangers of that, right? Pay, though, is the third component, I think, in a healthy and happy employee. Monica leads our wellness effort. So when we first came back and we started our new team and we restructured, the first thing we did is we created a wellness division. So what we recognized was, yes, in the last 5 years we had created some harm with people of color in our community or historically, and we had to focus on that. We were almost solely focused on that when I was a second in command. But what we didn't figure out is our officers are exposed to untold traumas every day. Child deaths, murders. They're deploying IFAC kits. Less people die who are shot in this town because police officers are doing war level treatment on those folks with sucking chest wounds and tourniquets. They're saving lives every day. But that comes at a cost, right? And so what happens when you don't have the resources to unpack those experiences is officers become callous, and callous officers start providing bad service to the community. They don't see people as humans. And so we created a partnership with somebody called Boulder Crest. The short version of that story is it's a week-long program through Struggle Well. I launch the program every day, the first day that it starts, and Monica wraps the day up to hear the feedback from the staff. 3/4 of our staff have been through that program, and what we're seeing is reduced rates of complaints, reduced rates of use of force, reduced rates of leave usage. It's just helping people unpack this experiences and recognizing that you are not committed to post-traumatic growth by seeing the things that we do, but post-traumatic stress disorder, but you can learn how to process those experiences through post-traumatic growth. So investing in the employees, word of mouth. If your current workforce are not your best recruiters, you're in trouble. And they weren't. And so that's really what we focused on. So we have not only increased our commission resources in the last 3 years, but we've increased total department staffing by about 15% through the investment of tripling our community safety, our CSOs, community safety officers, and a new position we call a professional staff investigator. Putting the right work in the right hands. One more final question.
All right, I have Arnie over here. He's going to ask a question.
Thank you for coming today and sharing your knowledge. Three-fold question. How important is community support? Do you believe that you have it to do your job? And how can we as a community more support you?
So it's critical. So I have a 3-legged stool I'm accountable to. Community is one leg of the stool, staff is another leg, and then city leadership is the third. If I lose one of those, then it's time for me not to be your chief. And so I do feel supported as chief, but my call to action is we have to move past silent supporters. You have to have a voice. You have to be engaged. Be involved in your neighborhood. Be involved with your council member, your board or supervisor. Have a voice, because what's going on in town is not okay. Right, the siege of fentanyl is not okay. So we need to put awareness and light and systems pressure to have different responses come. This is not just a police issue, but it's a community issue. So thank you for having me. I think my time is over.
Thank you, Chad. I don't know if you heard that song, but it's "Don't Stand So Close to Me."
By the police.
By the police.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you being here. And speaking of being involved in the community and speaking to Board of Supervisors, Steve Christie, can I meet with you afterwards? Can I have I'm just have a book for you to sign. I want to be a police officer, and this book goes into our Make Way for Books library that we donate for literacy in Tucson. So please sign that for us. I don't know if you know, but our Sergeant of Arms dynamic duo are dressed a little differently today because we have a few individuals.
We're going to make a couple arrests today because there are people that need to be arrested. But first, we have a book signing, don't we?
We signed the book.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm awake. I'm here. First person we're going to arrest is Mr. Michael Guymond. Go ahead and take this, Michael. We are arresting him for $25. I've forgotten my handcuffs, but that's okay. We'll get him. He wrote an article in the Centennial, so go check it out, and that's what he's getting fined for. Lock him up. He only did it because we told him there was going to be a cavity search, but then he denied it when I told him Chris Edwards was going to do it. So, but we still got him.
Wow, let's go to some birthdays after the search. So we have Sally Monton, August 9th is birthday. Yes, joined October 1st, 2011. Attorney, criminal defense, right on point with the rest of the program today. Vassar College and Georgetown Law. Something you may not know about Sally, she worked for 3 presidents, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, and Lyndon B. Johnson. Something that made me even more proud is she is more proud that she's one of our past district governors. So Sally, you have 60 seconds. It's all yours.
Thank you, Chris. I also want to thank Marianne Freitas, who brought me into this club, and Charlotte Harris for being the biggest supporter I've had in this club. And my mentor was Bob Schaff, who was very helpful. But my biggest mentor in all of Rotary is my husband, past district governor Ernie Montaigne. I first learned about this club, or came to it, in 2006 when John Wong invited Ernie and I to come and speak about the work we were doing in West Africa with water wells and helping people. And because of the generosity of club members, at the end of our talk, people started jumping up and saying, I'll give 100, I'll give 500. Several of them said, I'll give 1,000. Suddenly, we had enough money to do a whole big water well project for a community of 6,000 in West Africa. And, of course, the money was matched by the Rotary Foundation, and that's how we got to that point. But I was so impressed with this club. And then we went on, and we spoke to other clubs and district conferences, zone institutes, various organizations. We raised enough money to do a clean water project for the whole community, food production, education for women and girls, a community business, and healthcare for the community in 50 different cities in Rotary, in West Africa. And when we saw the work that Rotary was doing, especially outside of the United States, with the first school for the blind, all these water wells, so many of them were been done by Rotary, we decided to make the Rotary Foundation our charity of choice. And as time went on and we saw more projects, we eventually became Arch Clump members. And in addition, we've made Rotary the chief beneficiary of our estate. They get the money and then they distribute it to our children, and they get 6% a year of what we've given to Rotary. But I have visited projects, Rotary Club meetings, several hundred of them, all around in 26 countries around the world. And I think the Rotary Club of Tucson is absolutely the best Rotary Club I've ever seen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sally. Did someone, I feel like somebody did something wrong.
There's another criminal in this room. I can feel it. somewhere like
think there's
right here.
there's a lot of guilty
Mr.
looks.
Mark Irvin. You are fined and soon to be arrested. I brought the handcuffs this time for knowing so many people. He is the secret weapon for us in putting together a really exciting panel of chefs on November 6th. We are going to have Ken Foy. We are going to have Carlota Flores. And
I have some other chef.
Don't give him the mic.
Some guy named Yano.
Llanos, that's right. So thank you for doing that, and we're finding him $100.
Nice.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
All right, time for another birthday. Thank you for knowing so many people, Mark. Jen Delaney, her birthday is August 27th, joined our club March 26, 2020. Business Services Personnel, the Temp Connection. Something you may not know about Jen. And I loved reading this because I only have daughters, so it makes sense. Jen's daughter is the best gift she's ever received. She loves her son very much too, but her daughter is the absolute light of her life. Jen?
Hello, thank you everybody. I would like to use my time to thank everybody for being so wonderful. I love this club and it's wonderful, and she's absolutely the light of my life, and we have a very special relationship. I would like to use my time as a Happy Jackson to remind everybody to sign up for the Friday night dinner for the car show. That is at 5 o'clock on the 18th. We're going to have some fun stuff this year, so we're going to try some new stuff, so I hope to see you all there. And I have a check for you and my Happy Jackson.
Spelled my name wrong. But that's okay. Thank you, Jen.
No surprise here, Curtis. We've got another criminal in the
I
room.
am not surprised at all.
I heard you say you wanted to increase fines, and we took it serious, right, Chris?
We're on it.
Our next guy who owes us some money is Mr. Tim Putney right here. Oh, yeah. And the reason being is because he's been a really good friend to me. He calls me every few weeks. And so let it be known, if you're a good friend to me, you probably are going to get fined here in the future. So, FYI. Thank you. $20 we're finding him.
That's the best looking mugshot so far, Tim.
Let me steal that from you.
I guess that's a warning. Don't be nice to Brittany.
That's right.
We've got another birthday, Anna Greif. Her birthday is August 30th. Joined our club March 28th this year. Community Social Services, Job Path, went to the U of A, Carnegie Mellon, and Johns Hopkins. Something you may not know about Anna. Anna loves to travel and has been to 37 different, not counties, countries. That's impressive. Anna?
All right, so I got a minute. That's awesome. So I'd like to share with you all a little family history that I didn't know about until I joined Rotary. Marcy invited me to my first lunch, I don't know, earlier this year. It took forever for me to get my schedule to work. And I came to the meeting and I just loved it. And I saw a lot of people that I knew, and the people that I didn't know were just so amazing. And I felt right at home right away. Well, in the months after, while I really got the paperwork in and my act together, I was a little slow. I was emptying out my mom's house in my hometown of Agua Prieta in Mexico. And I came across a bunch of Rotary stuff. And one of the things that I found was a certificate of appreciation for my grandfather, who was the president of his Rotary Club in Agua Prieta in 1956. Yeah. So, and then I found a bunch of magazines and pens and just all of the swag from the 1950s on. And so that's when I realized that there's a reason why I felt so comfortable at my very first meeting, and that's because I was a Rotarian and I just didn't know it. So I became a Rotarian before I joined the Rotary, if that makes sense. And then one more message is we heard about the challenges that our local police has in recruiting people. If you've recently tried to get your car fixed and they told you they couldn't take it for 3-4 weeks or months or whatever, if you have tried to get a doctor's appointment and it's taking forever to get your doctor's appointment, it is because we don't have enough people in the pipeline to go to school, get trained, and get into the workforce. My mom just had to live without an air conditioner for about 6 days because they couldn't get somebody out there. So the way that we all can help solve that problem is by putting money in the little blue cups, because those go to scholarships so that people can actually complete their program, get into the workforce, and support our community. That's it. Thank you. And I have a
Thank you very much.
Oh, President Curtis, we have another arrest.
As Gary makes his way up with Libby, right? As Gary makes
Yeah.
his way up, I do think we have.
But this is stand up Stu Goldman. Stu Goldman's under arrest. Put on your, oh my gosh, I twisted it. There you go.
Escaped 3 times waiting for you to put the...
I know. And hold the handcuffs, and then so you get a good picture. And this is for Stu. You're not being obnoxious enough. We need you to do better, Stu.
Well, the last time I was...
Okay, that's all we got time for. Back to you.
Let's go. We hit the limit, Stu. We hit the limit. Now we have an introduction of a new member. To do that is Gary Hirsch, joined our club July 23rd, 2008, consulting, business services, CEO at Leaders Edge Coaching and Consulting, and he was a GUI duck, just like me, from the Evergreen State College. Gary?
By the way, Candy is very quick to remind me that she's actually the CEO. So it's really a privilege to get to introduce Libby. Diana Medeiros was going to do the introduction, but she's not feeling well. So 31 years ago, Libby Lentz came to work for Pima Medical Institute. And some of you may remember they were kind enough to sponsor our meeting when John Yuko spoke to us. 31 years ago, she took the position of Human Resources Director, and actually she was the Human Resources Department for 120 employees 31 years ago. Today, Libby is president of Pima Medical Institute, has been for several years, and helps govern an organization with 1,300 employees today and 16 campuses throughout the western United States. She was born in Madrid, Spain, and you never know, but her native language is actually Spanish. I mentioned she's been president of Pima for 2 years. I'm privileged to be on the board of Pima, so I've gotten to know Libby pretty well. You know, and as an ESOP company, I think of Libby as really champion for all of the employees in the company. Not only champion for their experience, but champion for the culture of the company. In the community, Libby likes opera, sports, and when we do let her leave the campus, she likes to travel occasionally. She's a remarkable employee. She'll be a remarkable addition to this club. So please join me in welcoming Libby Lentz as our newest member.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to be here. It's like Anna, it's taken me a few months to get here. I've come to a couple of meetings and I really enjoyed it, much as you said earlier. This is a great Rotary Club. So thank you all for having me. I'm really pleased to be here. I'm going to be a much better attendee. I promise you. Mark, I promise you. And thank you to Gary and Diana as well. So thank you.
I have some stuff for you here, and we get to take a picture.
And while they're taking a picture, you guessed it, we got another arrest to make. Mr. Jamal, would you stand up and hold these so I can get you arrested? Now, let me tell you why Jamal's getting arrested. Jamal's getting arrested because he's kind of a big deal. So if you didn't know, let us tell you. He is a consultant. He's a public speaker. He is, thank you. He's got his own website. So this is in addition to his day job. So go check out Jamal Givens online. He does all kinds of incredible things.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Welcome to the club, Libby. And I believe we have a blue badge presentation. Diana?
Where's Diana? There you are.
Right over there.
I'm coming to you. Right there. Okay. Oh, she's walking over there. There you go.
Thank you. It is my privilege this afternoon to introduce to you our newest Blue Badge member, Sandy McCaslin. Sandy joined the Rotary Club of Tucson in October of 2023 after moving to Tucson to accept the position of General Manager of the Tucson Racket and Fitness Club. She's a John Maxwell Team certified coach, teacher, and speaker, and specializes in leadership training. She was a member of the Rotary Club in Discovery Bay, California, and a former elected school board member. She's married to Ron, and they have 2 sons, Riley and Bailey. Please join me in a warm Rotary welcome to Sandy McCaslin with her blue badge. And I'm told I have to get the red badge back.
Thank you, Diana. And congrats, Sandy. Now we have a Paul Harris presentation. Mr. Joe Danishevsky.
Hey. You know, when you think about Paul Harris Fellowships, you're really leaving a legacy. And we leave a legacy, what a great story Anna told, a legacy she didn't even know she had, right? And we do it by, giving of our treasure, but also we do it on what we do as a club and as individuals. We are leaving a legacy. So we are honored today to honor one of our fellow Rotarians with his Paul Harris Fellow in recognition of his gifts to our international organization, the Rotary Foundation. These gifts directly support Rotary member-led service projects that supply clean water, support mothers and children, promote education, and protect the environment, and also prevent disease, and will one day end polio. Today we recognize Monte Clausen, who is receiving his Paul Harris Fellow +5. A 21-year member of our club, Monte was born in Hampton, Iowa, and he earned his undergraduate degree in education at the U of A, where he was a starter for the UA basketball team for 3 years. He was also elected president of the class of 1963 and voted most eligible bachelor on campus. He served 2 years in the Army and then decided to go to law school, a decision he never regrets. Monte attended the 1976 Republican Convention in Kansas City and was a White House advance man for President Ford, who won the nomination and then lost to Jimmy Carter. Monte did not know Ford well, but became a good friend of his chief of staff, Dick Cheney, and his other close advisor, Don Rumsfeld. Monte also got to know Betty Ford fairly well. That all happened 48 years ago, and Monte's takeaway is to avoid politics. In private practice for 20 years, Monte then joined the United States Attorney's Office as a trial lawyer, where he served until June 30th, 2020, when he retired. And not forgetting his roots within the U of A, he served as president of the U of A Alumni Letterman's Club for 27 years. Wow, that's a lot of Letterman. He and Joni Clausen have been married for 34 years. They have 18 grandchildren, and a stepdaughter, Carrie, who's with us, as well as a wonderful bride is as well. When asking why he supports Rotary International programs, Monte shares by saying, "I feel fortunate to contribute to the worthy projects of Rotary." Congratulations, Monte, and thank you for your continued support of Rotary International programs. Let's hear it for our newest multiple Paul Harris Fellow recipient.
You want me in here too? Yeah, most people don't like that. Congrats, Monty. Thank you. You want that? Perfect. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Monty. Sergeant Arms, I think we have a raffle. You ready? Cool.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
move.
on it. We did the drawing over there. We're trying to keep things moving along. And The pot is $1,395. I'm just going to tell you right now, the two clubs was drawn, so you're not going to win the big pot. But I'm going to lift you up. I have $95 or $94 in my pocket, so if you have the winning ticket, you have a fair amount of cash coming your way. So the winning number is 444. Yeah, 985. 444 985. Oh, Chris Edwards! Well, yeah. What's that? I'm going to donate it back. And while we're at it, why don't you just arrest him?
I'm going to arrest him too, because he owes us $200 for this fine. This is a significant fine. You guys ready to figure out what he did? I was at the botanical gardens. Oh, well, someone handcuffed me, so I got to get, oh, look at that. Look at that. I'll handcuff you. So I'm at the botanical gardens this weekend, and I'm looking at the train with my son, and we're enjoying it. And then all of a sudden, I see this man's face on the train. He's advertising there. So go check him out. We're finding him $200 plus the 98 he just made.
No, actually, I'm donating that back.
Okay. Well, there you have it. If you want to get fined, please let me know. Or if you want to find someone else, find me.
As long as she keeps arresting people, you should get fined. But anyways, it's all about the Rotary Club, you guys. It's amazing. And then, Mark, I think you should add $100 to yours to match me.
I don't know.
Just FYI.
You keep talking, Chris. You might get another
Let's
100
find him
too.
again.
But,
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to announcements. We got to get out of here on time. And so if Jeannie and Marcy want to make their way up while I do my announcements, so I'm not behind schedule because past President Bruce will text me something that's not nice. The announcements, they're emailed out. They're on your table. They're up there right now, so please make sure you check those out. I want to thank everyone that participated in the events around town last Wednesday. A bunch of us went out to lunch at 4 different sites. I want to thank you for the hosts. Am I going too fast, Dan? We're good? We're good. We're back. There we are. We had a great lunch. Good time. I think everybody had fun. Bruce, you look great in that picture. And we have another one coming up on September 11th, so if you would like to coordinate a location, please email myself and or Dorina, or probably just Dorina, that's smarter, so that we can get that set up so members can sign up. Encourage you to attend. It was fantastic to have a smaller group together to be able to have lunch. Next, Red Badge member selfies. We've got a few. Is that Chushi? Where's Chushi at? Where are you at? There he is. You made it up there. We got Chushi. We've got... I got to get my list here. Well, we're in a hurry. I'm going to apologize. I can't find my list. It's here somewhere. And oh, there it is. Here we are. Chushi and Bruce with Diana, and Jen Delaney with Anna, which they were birthday buddies up here today. And then Marianne Freitas and Carol and Diana and Lynette and Bruce all together. So please keep on taking those red badge selfies. Encourage you to do that. I haven't seen one with Libby yet. She's here, so let's get on that. And next, Wilbur. Wilbur has been all over. Wilbur is here right now. If you want to take Wilbur, you got to coordinate with myself or Dorina. He went up to with Brett Stein. He's been at the social that we did up at Union that Mr. Guyman's coordinated for us. He went to Sturgis, I believe, with Dan Colm. And there was no odor on him when he got back, which was fantastic. But if you want to take him, please let me know. And if you're going on a trip, you just got to take some pictures with him so he knows on the adventure. We know the adventure that he went on. Yeah, there we go. Can we be quick? Okay, Jeannie.
All right. Okay, so I was here about a month ago to share it with you how we are doing on car show ticket sales. And if you go to the next slide, it shows that we are now 15.4% toward our goal of 30,000 tickets to be sold. We've precisely sold 4,633 from all sources, and that car just really wants to start moving down the track. Now, the good news is I did see a number of envelopes come in today, and we will be collecting money at every single meeting, so please do bring in your money or go online and buy or sell tickets or whatever through whatever means you want to get. You could even ask Dorina to charge your account. She's very willing to do that. And the next slide I want to show you, I want to highlight the people in red that are the new members in the Club 40. John Duvall, Marianne Frittis, Jan Green, Amy Morin, and Tom Willis. They have a chance to win one of the $50 gift certificates to either El Charo or Harlow Gardens. And then on the next slide, Club 100, we've added Joni Condit and Dorvita Parker. They are now in running to be one of the 50 top sellers that will get to have a really wonderful dinner that the Hoffmans are sponsoring for the Club 100 people and their spouses, or their guests. So those are the highlights, and just you'll see lots of ways to sell those tickets, and just give it a shot. Ask people. That's the biggest thing, is just asking them if they'll buy. It's a great event. They'll have a good time at it, have a chance to win things, and they help great beneficiaries. Thank you.
Okay, why am I here? Car show volunteers. So Dan is pulling up a website. You are going to get, as Rotary Club members, a specific link. This is not live yet. We're still finishing some things up. And so there will be a private link for Rotary Club, as well as Pima Foundation as a beneficiary, Sister Jose, Right Flight, and those will be sent out via email. The WebMo people have made the back end really easy for me. So whoever would like to take this job over next year as a shadow, please let me know. It's really easy. And so on the screen, you can see what we're going to add to the top of the page, information on how to do this. There was some confusion previously. If you open Site Prep, click on that. Well, no, open it. Push the down arrow. It gives the job description. There you go. So it tells what the job entails. If you put a check mark in there, you can check multiple jobs. Scroll to the bottom. It's kind of a long way down. I'll see if they can fix that. Click on that button that says sign up for all selected. You put your first name, your last name, your email, your cell phone. I believe you're all over 18. You check that. And then you would put in Rotary Club. There's a drop down if you're in an organization, Rotary Club of Tucson. It's pretty easy. Just put something in for fake there. What happens then is you also have to answer a question. 7 plus 1. What is the answer?
12.
Oh, wow. This is going to be a lot more difficult than I anticipated. So you have to answer the 7 plus 1 and then press sign me up. You will then get an email reminder that tells you exactly what you signed up for. And 3 days before your shift, you will get another email reminder. If you can't come at all to do any of the the day of, or the post, there's even a place for you to sign up to do that. Why would you want to do that? So I don't bug you, because everyone in the club is expected to participate. And so I keep track, and then I go back out to try and make sure that everyone has a wonderful opportunity. The thing that I ask, what I really need you to do is collect money. Please sign up for at least one job collecting money. Only Rotarians can collect money. So it's the beer and the soda sales, it's the admission tickets, it's the parking sales. And then the other things are also distributed out to our partners that are the nonprofits, as well as the public. And so that you'll get more instructions. It will be out soon. And I thank you very much for your willingness to do volunteering.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I owe you guys like 7 minutes or so next week, so I'm going to do that. We have some other cool stuff happening next week. I want to finish my agenda here. It's only 20 minutes left. Thank you all our virtual guests for coming today, all of our guests here that came. Hope you enjoyed the meeting. Please donate, which Anna already said, to the cups. Happy birthday, Sally, Jen, and Anna. Welcome to the club, Libby. Congratulations on your blue badge, Sandy. Congratulations to Paul Harris, Monty. Thank you to our sponsor today, Mike Levine. We're up here by ourselves now. Well, it is you and I. Yeah, well, I mean, it was probably us, you're right. Next week, August 28th, will be Clancy Shields, the head coach of the University of Arizona tennis. We are encouraging everybody to dress in white, so it's going to be a whiteout. Can we handle that? Man, it's tough. We need some more thunder to get this thing going. Now it's time to toast and adjourn. Jason Flax. There we are. You got the mic?
I got it.
Wow, Chris is a runner. I thought he was just a musician.
Hey, easy enough. Got the mic? We're good. All right, well, here's to the nights that we don't remember and the friends we'll never forget.
I went over time. I went over time. Thank you, Sally Montaigne. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
You did a very good job.
Well, thank you.
3 minutes, 2 minutes overtime is nothing.
That's okay. We had a lot of extra stuff.
Yeah.
There you are.
Thank you. I will take very good care of him.
Please do.
He's going to have a blast.
I hope so. I hope so.
Carrying his
Would you like to be our